the right wing is replete, it is filled to the brim, the absolute brim, with white Christian nationalists, with, Nazis. People don't like, you can't call everybody Nazis. You can't call everybody racist. I get this even from Democrats. And you really need to check yourself and understand the lay of the land relative to what is on deck for the United States of America. That Donald Trump has seen fit to install white Christian nationalists all throughout the highest levels of the United States government. And it is people like the guy I'm going to talk about today, Elijah Schaefer, who used to be employed by the Blaze, by Glenn Beck. All these people are establishment types. They are in the mainstream of the Republican Party. Elijah Schaefer used to be promoted by Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. This is how they described him on their website. Host of the Blaze TV podcast, Slightly Offensive, and co-host of the new hit show, You Are Here. Elijah Schaefer is a federally credentialed reporter, most notable for infiltrating Antifa riots, capturing the Kyle Rittenhouse shooting in Kenosha, and documenting the infamous Capitol riot. Documenting it, huh? You don't mean participating? Turning Points USA? Well, he did ultimately get fired from the Blaze, from Glenn Beck. Here's a headline from the Daily Beast. Glenn Beck fired star podcaster Elijah Schaefer after sexual assault accusation. Schaefer's firing came after a weeks-long investigation into an allegation he had groped a colleague's breast without her consent, a source with knowledge told the Daily Beast. So here's my take before I get to this clip here of him saying black Americans aren't Americans. They might have citizenship, but they're not really Americans by virtue of the fact that they're black. What I want to say is Glenn Beck had this guy on the payroll for a long time. Charlie Kirk promoted this guy for a long time. They are personal acquaintances. They know each other. They go to parties together. They have dinner together. They have work meetings together. And you can't tell me that this guy's pernicious, racist, white supremacist views were not known. Like, what? It's only until a sexual assault allegation comes public that they're like, oh, we can't maintain this. We got to let this guy go. This is the Republican Party. This is the mainstream of the Republican Party. All these people who claim to have deeply held religious beliefs. Mr. Mormon, Glenn Beck. Well, here he is. I'm going to read this tweet from Rightwing Watch, a noble organization doing great work to expose maniacs like this. This is the tweet. Elijah Schaefer declares that black people are not Americans because originally they were slaves. Quote, and this is a quote you're going to hear in the video, amendments were made and there was adjustments that gave you citizenship and the right to vote, but it didn't make you an American. It just gave you American citizenship. Head scratcher, right? See if you can make any sense of it. Here is white Christian nationalist, Nazi adjacent, if not straight up Nazi, Elijah Schaefer, great blasphemous name from a non-Christian, claims to be Christian, claims. Here he is explaining how blacks in America aren't Americans.
And you're not an American because originally you were slaves and you didn't even have value in terms of the political system. Then they were given like 3/8 of the value, right? Three-fifths. 3/5. Thank you. In my world, it was 3/8, but I live in a utopia. No, I'm just kidding. But it was like 3/5, and you go down, and it's like then amendments were made, and there was adjustments that gave you citizenship and the right to vote, but it didn't make you an American. It just gave you American citizenship. It gave you legal right. And that's why it doesn't take a genius to notice that black people and white people in America look, act, behave fundamentally different, both individually and collectively. Now, that's not to say that black people aren't valuable in the eyes of God. It's not to say that white people are better than black people, even if they are. No, I'm kidding.
What is he even talking about? He's so wrong on even the history of it that they have to correct him on the 3/5 thing. What is it, 3/8? Yeah, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding. He says over and over and over again. We know you're not kidding. You can't indemnify yourself. You can't extricate yourself from the accusation of being a racist puke just by saying, just kidding. You can't repeat the heinous racist lies time and time and time and time again and then just have it washed away by saying you're kidding. We know what you mean. You think that black people are inferior. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, they're not. We know what you mean. The problematic thing here, obviously, is that he has a following and people believe him, and he's radicalizing young people. That's certainly a problem. The problem also lies in the fact that this guy was not persona non grata within the Republican establishment. He was employed and paid handsomely by people like Glenn Beck, who have access to the President of the United States, who have access to a wide-ranging media outlet that reaches millions and millions and millions, maybe tens of millions of people, hundreds of millions of people. Look, I reach tens of millions of people with my tiny corner of the internet. Can you imagine the width and the breadth of the exposure of the blaze with Glenn Beck? How many people, him, the Daily Wire, all of these assholes, my tiny corner reaches tens of millions. I can't imagine. And this dangerous, putrid, disgusting hate and bigotry en masse. Remember the days when it was controversial, when Richard Spencer got punched in his face? I do. Anyway, what do you think? I will leave it there before I get myself in trouble. Nobody wants the trouble. Nobody wants the trouble. What do you think? Comment below. That'll help this content reach new possible viewers, new subscribers. Maybe we can get my 15 to 20 million reach of this channel to even greater heights. I would appreciate it very much. You can call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I would very much appreciate hearing from you, just like I would appreciate it if you would consider supporting and producing this work. You can help me reach those people to maybe dissuade some from going down the wrong path. I don't want to overstate the power of my communication skills, but you never know. Anyway, click the join button below for $2 a month. You could do just that, become a channel member and help support this work. You can also go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/IDoubtIt podcast. Follow me on social media. If you share this video on social media, you can tag me there. I'm at Dollemore. I'd love to see you. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.